Hello everyone. This week, Reverend Sunny is going to be speaking to us about how do we recognise Jesus today. And our Bible reading comes from Luke chapter 24. But I thought it would be good to do a recap first of the story so far. On the Friday, Jesus was crucified and died. He was laid in a tomb. On the Sunday, some women went to Jesus' tomb. The stone had been rolled away. The tomb was empty. Then they saw some men in shining clothes who told them that Jesus had risen just as he said he would. They ran to tell the disciples. Most didn't believe, as it seemed too incredible. Simon Peter hurried to the tomb to see for himself. The tomb was empty, just as the women had said. What had happened to Jesus? The story continues. So now we come to today's Bible reading from Luke chapter 24. And two disciples are walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus. They are really grieving the death of Jesus. And as they're walking, someone comes and joins them and travels alongside them. We are told in Luke that it is Jesus, but that they do not recognize that it's Jesus. So fancy walking along, talking to Jesus about Jesus, but not knowing that they were talking to Jesus. It wasn't until they stopped and broke bread together that they realized who Jesus was. Now, if they were close disciples, breaking bread with Jesus was probably something that they'd experienced many times before. That got me thinking about how we recognize faces, and I did a bit of research, and I found a really interesting study from Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. Lots of neuroscientists have done research into whether men or women are better at recognizing faces. Some research has found women are, other research has found there is no difference. But this particular group of neuroscientists wanted to look at the role of experience. So they didn't use human faces, but they used the faces of toys. Can you guess which two types of toys that they used? It was in fact Barbie dolls and Transformers. So I thought we would have a bit of a go ourselves. It won't be up to university standard research, but let's play anyway. I'm going to show a picture of a Barbie doll or a Transformer, and then I'll put up a series, a whole group of different ones. See if you can guess that first one. Here we go. Here's number one. Which one is she? She is in fact G. Second one. Can you pick her out of that lineup? Was in fact C. And last one, last Barbie doll, which one was that one? Was in fact H. How did you go? Let's try the Transformers now. Can you find that Transformer face? Was F. Let's try this one. Can you find that one? Found that hard being all black and white. It was B. And last one. Which one is that in the lineup? Did you find in your homes a difference between men and women? The researchers at Vanderbilt University did, but they didn't put it down so much to gender, but experience. They believe it was that women recognized Barbie dolls better because they had a lot more experience playing with Barbie dolls. Men were better at identifying the Transformers because they had played with the Transformers. They believe that their study shows us that experience does matter when it comes to recognition. So what does that have to do with our Bible reading today? Well, I believe that it shows us that knowing Jesus and having experience with Jesus will help us to recognize Jesus So the more that we know and the more that we understand about Jesus, the more that we can see him here in the everyday. And I've got some tips for you in how we can recognize Jesus today. I bet you can think of the first one, the most important one. It is, in fact, reading the Bible. That's our primary source of information of who Jesus is, how Jesus reacted, what was important to Jesus. The second one, prayer. And it's really important that we listen as well as speak. Our third one is watching nature. The nature that God created is so incredible and so amazing, and we learn so much from it. I know we've got lots of scientists here in our congregation who I'm sure can tell you of the things that we have learned from nature that we use in science today. And lastly, talking with and following the example of other Christians. And that, when I say mature Christians, I don't necessarily mean old Christians, but just people that you can see have walked alongside Jesus and have seemed to know Jesus really well. So I encourage you to work on reading the Bible, spending time in prayer, just spending time watching nature and being with nature and talking with other believers so that you too will be able to recognize Jesus today.